Okay, so talking about sponsoring, go ahead and take it away, Wendy.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the call today. We are probably, at least if you're under Molly, then we're your superstar directors. And if you're under Brandy, your superstar director is Karina. And if you're under other people, we're probably still your superstar director, I'm guessing, in a lot of ways. Mandy might be your superstar director. So there's like maybe 5 or 6 superstar directors in our group. So it doesn't matter which one of us talks to you guys. Like, honestly, we're all so different, and we all have something. Like, you may be like, yeah, Wendy's not my cup of tea, but like Mandy, I love her. Or like, I want to just give Karina a hug, she's so much better. Like, that's awesome. Like, it's great that you guys are on these calls, because you just never know who you're going to get like one little tidbit from, or like you're going to get like, oh my God, this person speaks to me. So maybe you'll get like a little tidbit from me, or maybe it'll be like, oh, Wendy blew my mind. So whichever, I'm totally cool with it. And awesome, you were like, okay, she talks too fast and her hair's stupid, but that's cool too, because like that happens also. So you can just judge or not judge, or learn or not learn, but at least you guys are all on here like trying to invest in your time and in your businesses, which is huge. A little bit about Sean and I. We were top recruiters in Sensi. We've been with Sensi for 13 years almost. As of December, it'll be 13 years. And the first 5 years, we were top recruiters, like top 10. Like, when you go back through time, we were always on the stage. We were always announced. We were always on the top list, because Sean and I were super dead ass broke, and we needed this business to support our lives, get our power turned back on, put food on the table. Like, we lost everything kind of a situation. And so that put us in desperation mode. And we used Sensi as a tool to get out of debt and to build a business. And Sean is actually the original person who joined, not me. And so we work our business together now, and have since 2009. When he begged me to help him, because he was a director and didn't know what to do and had no idea who anyone in our downline was, because he recruited so much. And then I took it and exponentially recruited, because I was a professional recruiter in my job before. And that doesn't mean that you guys can't be better recruiters, because some of you are. There's people in our downline who, like, I've seen some of you guys like recruit like 30 people in a month, and that's like vomity amazing. Like, that's like, I don't even know. I'd be so overwhelmed with that many people. Like, that's gross to me. I think that is too much, too hard. Like, that is not sustainable. Like, how the hell you talk to 30 people and try to manage? Like, who has time for that kind of thing? And you probably don't do it very well if you recruit that many people, to be honest with you. You could be automated, you could have systems and stuff like that, but like, that's just too many. So what Sean and I did is we recruited, and I say recruit, not sponsoring, even though this is about sponsoring. I'm going to explain that they're two very different things. So we recruited minimum 4 to 6 people a month, every month, for a good 5 years. Like, consistently. The most we ever recruited in a single month was 11. And I was like, oh my God, I never want to do that again, because I take pride in onboarding and trying to train people and do right by them if they're going to join. And so 11 was already like, holy cow. And then over the years, as we kind of got into a better financial state, and, we had, more people in our downline, I kind of switched things around to maybe where we were like recruiting 2 to 4 people a month max. So we were no longer top recruiters, but we were still like, I mean, when you look at superstar directors, like, we were still like killing it with 2 to 4. The ultimate goal for everybody is to honestly sell 2,000 a month and recruit 2 people a month. If you did that, like, if you figured out, okay, like, I'm an awesome seller, but like, I suck at recruiting, like, work on recruiting and flipping people, and then working back later to build your PRV back up to 2,000. Okay. But if you are sucking at PRV, but you're great at recruiting, recruit, and then, work on figuring out how to get your PRV where it needs to be. So you need to find a balance, because if you had a business and you really want to grow a business, 2,000 PRV, 2 recruits a month, that should be amazing. That should be consistent. And if you do that, you're not going to get that same burnout that like someone who's having 30 recruits or 10 recruits even, like that's a lot. Like that's not manageable. That's not realistic. And someone who does like $8,000 in sales in a month. I mean, some of our downline, like I've seen some of them do like 40,000 in a month. And I'm like, I just can't. Like, I mean, some of that is, you know, online stuff, but a lot of that can even be with like parties and fundraisers. And like, that's just too much work for me. I don't know about you, but I'm lazy in that way. And I am not about that life, events and all that. So recruiting versus sponsoring, just so you guys understand the difference. I was gonna be like, okay, I'm just gonna talk about sponsoring. And then I was like, no, they really need to learn about how to recruit, because sponsoring is not recruiting. Sponsoring is what you do with someone once they've joined. You've sponsored them. Like imagine AA, right? You have someone who joins AA and you are there to show them how you stay sober and to help them stay sober, right? Like it's not like you brought them in like, hey, you should get sober. Come on to AA. That would be recruiting. Sponsoring is being there for them, supporting them, showing them the rope, showing them, being there for them when they need help, maybe mentoring them, right? It's the same thing with this. Sensi, to sponsor is to be there for them. And if you do not, I mean, it's all great and fine to tell you guys to like recruit and stuff, but like if you don't actually want to help people, then, and you just want to recruit because you want to earn a trip or you want to do this or you want this, then you're missing the whole point of direct sales. You know, I mean, it's great to join Sensi to sell because you love it or you're learning and you just enjoy it. But over time, like if you decide like you really want to build a team and you really want to build a business, then you want to learn how to sponsor. Sponsoring is never about me. It's about you. And it's not about you and the people you recruit. It's only about you, the person I recruited. I do not train everybody in our down. Like Molly can tell you, she joined under somebody else. And now she's our frontline because that person is no longer with us. But I didn't work with Molly because I was not her sponsor. We were her directors, but this other person was really her director the whole time she was a director. So we really didn't have a lot of interaction, because if you're under a director, no one else above you should ever be contacting anyone in your team. So Molly and I didn't have any relationship. She maybe saw my name and stuff, but I didn't like know her because she wasn't my sponsor. And I also wasn't her director for her beginning career. And so once she rolled up, or when she became a frontline to me and I actually became her direct upline, then it was like, okay, game on. And so like, what do you know? What do you don't know? What do you need? You know, what do you want to do with your business? That's sponsoring. That's helping someone, not telling them, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do that. Hey, have you got your 500 in for the month? Like that is not sponsoring. That is bossing someone around. And that is about you, not about them. So I hope you guys understand that sponsoring is helping others, being there for others, helping them grow. Because when you help other people grow, then your business will naturally grow. You will become better in your business. You will be a better seller. You will be a better recruiter. You will be a better sponsor because you are not making everything about you. All right. So like if you probably a lot of you guys don't have anyone on your team, or maybe you just have a couple people that you've personally recruited. Maybe you have a couple extra. Maybe there's some other people that someone that you recruited's recruited. And so I'm just going to talk about this and then I'll go back to the recruiting stuff. So if you have sponsored someone, they're your frontline. They should be the only person until you're a director. And even then, but they should be the only person that you train, period. And if you teach them to recruit and train their people, and then they can teach their person how to do that in their front line. When you end up with building a business as big as ours, we have 6,500 people in our downline. Could you imagine if I was personally training all of them? Because you know what I mean? Like even when we had a couple hundred, like that's exhausting. That's like having 200 children. Like who wants to it's hard enough. I got one 4-year-old right now and I got 2 adult children, and that's exhausting as hell. So like you think about it like children, like You got your children and their children are your grandchildren, and you say hi and you're nice to them and you give them candy, but like they're not yours to raise. They're your children's children to raise. And if you think like that, your brain is on right. Okay. So let's go back to the recruiting part of it. And then you guys can ask me questions later if you want to about all that. But recruiting is a muscle. And it's like going to the gym. And you know, like when you've been lazy and you haven't gone to the gym, or all of a sudden you go to Disneyland and you bring the kids and you haven't walked a lot. And then all of a sudden you walk your butt off for 3 days and you're so sore that you, like when you sit on the toilet, like you fall a little because your thigh muscles are like, you know, and you fall on the toilet. It's because your muscles are just sprinting, but they haven't been like worked out and like are good, you know, they're like a good working machine, you know? So you have to think about, if you do a little exercise every day, you'll get better and better and you'll be conditioned. It's like conditioning yourself. So if you want to be, if you want to do anything with your business, you got to show up a little bit every day. I'm not talking like an hour or two every day, like 5-10 minutes a day. Start with that, because I don't want anyone recruiting if they can't even log on to the workstation once a day. You know what I mean? Or get on the team page once a day. You should be able to go look at the news tab, see what's new for the day. Go look and see, you know, I mean, if you are someone who does a lot of orders online, go look and see if you got any new orders if you haven't checked your email. Like, do some really basic little things. Get on the Facebook team pages and, you know, see if there's any good tips for the day and stuff like that. Go watch one training that's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes long. Do something for yourself every day. And if you can do that, recruiting is probably something that you can start managing. But if you can't even commit to being on your business every day, or you only do one thing once a week, you probably aren't going to be able to answer a lot of questions that your new recruit would have for you. You know, like, okay, well, what is the new sale going to be? And you're like, I haven't been on the workstation in a week and I haven't been on Facebook in a week, so I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, that's not cool, right? So you want to be at least able to be like, oh, that's this. Here's the article. And you don't tell them all about it. You say, here, read this article. It'll tell you everything you need to know, and then let me know if you have questions after it. I do not be like, oh, this is what it is, and it's this much, and it's going to be at this time. Like, we're all independent business owners here, right? Like, I'm not your mama, and you're not my baby. I already deal with a 4-year-old that I boss around, and he tries to boss me around, and you know what I mean? I don't show him every little thing. I try to show him some independence too and teach him. So it's like you teach someone to fish and they'll be fed forever. But if you give it to them, like, they just get one meal, right? I said it all backwards. I think you give the fish first and then you teach them how to fish. But anyway, you understand my point. So you do not want to start recruiting until like you're at least a daily 5-10 minute a day person consistently, and just practice it like every day when you wake up, or whatever time you have, like sitting on the toilet at work, if that's what you're doing, or like you're having, you know, you're a smoker and you take a smoke break, whatever you can do to, you know, get your 5-10 minutes in. Everybody has 5-10 minutes in. Everybody's busy. Everybody has lives. Everybody may have kids. Everyone has a spouse. You know, everybody has something. Everyone can 5-10 minutes. You know what I mean? If I can do that and I don't even get to go on the toilet by myself with a 4-year-old, y'all can do that. You know what I mean? So anyway, so now that you have been consistently doing something every day for 5-10 minutes a day, if you are someone who is a big seller, but like you've never recruited anyone, I'm guessing it's because of one of two things. First thing is you're greedy and you do not want to flip a party and give that host those rewards because you want the money from it. And I'm going to tell you why that's wrong in a second. And two, the other reason is you don't actually like ask people to join. You're like, if you do talk about the join, you're like, I mean, you know, if you're interested in joining, just let me know. Like, that's a throwaway join. Like, that's a bullshit. Like, I don't really want you to join, but I'm too embarrassed that you might be upset that I'm asking you to join kind of a situation. So those are generally the two things. Now there may be something else in there, but those are usually the two reasons why someone who's really good at selling doesn't do anything. And I see it all the time. I see people in our downline who, you know, can sell 10,000, 20,000 lifetime PRV, and they've never recruited anyone. And when I ask them, do you talk about the opportunity? It's either no, I don't, because I don't want to lose the income. And here's why that's a bad thing. Because our very first person who joined was my high school best friend. And I knew she would not be interested in joining. You know what I mean? So I told her, and we were dead broke too. This is like our power was off. Like this is when we first joined. So we were like desperate for this money. And she had like a killer party. It was like $728. So for us, it was like, woohoo, that was killer. And she told me at the party, she's like, I was thinking about joining. And I was like, no, don't join. I need the money. So instead of making, you know, off of everything, you know, like $100 or so, like $150 or whatever it was, we made like $9 off of it as overrides. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was like 100 and something versus $9. Like at the time, it hurts financially, like it hurts, you know? And so I didn't try to dissuade her from it at all because I thought that was wrong. I just knew that that was wrong, but I was still like super greedy. Like, I don't want you to join in my head. She's still a consultant today and she doesn't do a whole lot, but she's brought on some people who've done really well. You know what I mean? And so over time, she sells consistently every month, 200 to like 500-600 a month. So we've made that back. I mean, even if you just look at like percentage wise, just making, you know, at her title right now, we make 5% off of everything that she does. Still, she hasn't advanced very far because she hasn't recruited a lot. But like if you look at 5%, so every time she, you know, sells $500 and we get, you know, 5% of that, that's more than made up over 13 years, you know? So like there's that. And she's brought all these people and we built a team from it. Okay. So then the second reason that people don't recruit is because they're afraid that they're going to offend someone, or they're worried about what judgment, or they're actually just nervous to ask about the join because they don't want to sell. They don't want to be like that person or that joiny person. And I get it. I totally don't. I never like standing in someone's living room. I liked having one-on-one conversations. And I figured out very quickly, even though I was a recruiter, it wasn't the same as like recruiting in this business. It was a totally different thing. You know, I was more like a headhunter. You know, we put out ads, people came in, I interviewed them, I judged them, figured out if they'd be good for the job. Totally different situation. So that doesn't mean that I was a natural recruiter, but what I was good at was listening. And I would listen to people, and I would be at parties, or I'd be listening to someone talk to me on the phone about wanting, you know, to have a party or basket party or whatever, or do a cheer fundraiser. I did a lot of those in the beginning. And I just listened to them, and I would just have natural conversations. And I think that that's what anyone who's afraid about talking about joining misses. They don't know how to talk like a normal person. So I want you guys all to just write this down and search for it later. I don't want you to watch it right now because it's probably going to be distracting, but watch that and me. So I want you to go on YouTube and I want you to search Wendy Robinson Spring Sprint, how to talk to people, or how to talk. Yeah, how to talk to people. And you'll see a video from 2011 of me with, I think, reddish hair at the time. I don't know if I had blonde hair. I can't remember. I think it was red. And I'm doing a whole talk, and I teach you how to play a game that you can use to help talk to people, like anybody. It doesn't matter who it is, where it is, but it's a game. And so I'm not going to tell you about it because I want you to go watch it. It's kind of humorous and everything else. And it was my very first time speaking at a Sensi event, and there were like 1,600 people, and I almost pooped myself. And I think, and I had hives, and I forgot to press the little slide button to make the slides go forward because I was so nervous. But the whole talk itself and what I teach you, I feel is invaluable. It's still something that I use today. I teach people it all the time, and it really helps loosen you up and not make you so bajiggity or feel like having a conversation has to be weird, because it does not have to be weird. Okay. So watch that when you decide, you know, that you want to learn how to talk to people and not be weird about it or feel weird and icky about it. So to recruit, you want to have a monthly goal. And I don't care, like if you recruit 0 and you have 0, make the goal 1 recruit a month. And I want you to tell somebody that you need to get 1 recruit a month. And you watch stuff, you talk to a sponsor, you try everything, you try to talk to your sponsor, talk to your director, you know, go on the team page and ask like, what's anyone using right now that's working to recruit? Like, is there any, you know, Facebook tip, or go do a search for recruiting or sponsoring and see what people have in the search bar in our groups, and go see what other people are currently saying or doing, because we all share tips. Your directors, all the directors in our group, they share all kinds of great tips, and other people in the group who, you know, see something, they share what they've done that works. So there's so much information available to you. Like, go and look for information and see, do whatever you can do. And if you say it out loud and you watch my video on how to talk to people, and you have a party or something like that, or watch the video on, or read a document on how to flip a party. I just made a post today in our Together We Are Better group page, and it was with how to use a diffuser post, you know, to get people to have a party and stuff like that. But in it, Mandy Bowling, she shares a post on host flipping. So if you read through the comments, you can see Mandy's little document that she shared on host flipping. Go read that. So if you do parties, or you do basket parties, you do online parties, go look at that. I mean, these are all just little things, and not everything sticks. Like there's, you know, how many people on this call? 16 people, including me. What I say and how I say it is not going to work for you. And how you say things and do things is not going to work for me. But what you do is you take a general idea and you tweak it and you play with it. And if you say it, say what you want to say out loud to your sponsor or your upline, and just kind of like play and bounce things off of each other. I like role playing, I feel, is a really good way to hear yourself sound stupid or not stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how many times in conversations I have with people in our team, like, there's one gal, she's a couple of levels down from me, and she reached up to me because she wanted to like be serious about her business. And so I was talking to her and I was asking her like, okay, and I know her pretty well. And I said, so like, when you talk to someone, like, what are you saying? And she told me, and she said it out loud. And I was like, do you hear what you just said? And she's like, oh my God. And I said, exactly. Like, you can hear what you're saying and be like, oh my God, like that doesn't make sense. Or why wouldn't I have heard her say this? I should have heard her say that. And then I could have said this, but I was too busy thinking and talking to have listened. You know, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of recruiting has to do with listening. Like, so if you, back in the olden days, pre-COVID, you would have a party, right? An in-person party. And I would take all of the scents and I would put them on an ottoman or a table, and I'd try to do it around like a couch or something instead of at a table, so that I could hear everybody pass around scents and be like, oh, that's nasty. Oh, that's great. Or like whatever. And I'd always pick out the scent that I hated the most at the time and the scent that I loved the most at the time. So for an example, one party that I specifically remember, I used Sugar Cookie and Hendrix, and that's an old scent. And if any of you are old enough to remember Hendrix, it smells like a sweaty rocker. Now, some women were like, oh my God, it smells like a sweaty man. It smells delicious. And I'm like, that smells disgusting and you're gross. And I use that as an example of like, here, everybody smell this. And I'd be like, I think this scent is disgusting. And half the women were like, oh my God, I love it. And then I was like, you're nasty. And then other people were like, oh my God, that is gross. I'm like, you're totally right. And then I would give them Sugar Cookie. And I'd be like, okay, Sugar Cookie is one of my favorite scents because my husband comes, every time he walks in the door, he thinks I baked something for him, which I haven't. And I said, I love it and he loves it. And they were like, oh my God, it's too sweet. And I'm like, you're stupid. And you know what I mean? So it would be conversations. So then that would get everyone to talk about things, and then you'd hear them talk about their life because they're all friends usually. They know each other. Maybe someone hasn't. There's always that one person who's like, oh, I know all about Scentsy, and I like this and this, or oh, that goes with this, or you should try this. And you have to listen for that person, because why isn't that person a recruit yet? Okay. Then you get another person that's like, oh, when they check out, like they just got like a bar, and you're like, what? If you listened, you would have heard them tell their friends like, oh, my husband, we're worried about layoffs, because we lived in Washington, and so like we were right near Boeing, and so there were constantly like layoff situations and stuff. So you'd be like, all right, well, I got to listen to that and offer her the opportunity, and so if you listen, you hear like, oh, gosh, I love our shelter, and we have our cats spayed and neutered, blah, 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 blah. Oh, this person might be good to have a fundraiser in support of the shelter that they love, or their kids are doing fun, like, or they're in the PTA. You're like, oh my God, they're in the PTA. Maybe I want to get into a school and do a fundraiser. Like, ask them like, hey, are you on the fundraising committee? Would you be able to get me in touch with the person who is? Like, there's so many things you can listen to, but just shutting your mouth and listening to the natural conversations that are happening around you. And when I had a party, I would have, because I don't do parties anymore because I don't like being in people's living rooms, but I did them really well. And I would have checkout areas separate from the main party. So I'd request for the hostess to have me in a bedroom or in a kitchen, like somewhere separate. And I'd have a checkout area. And so instead of just giving me their stuff and tossing it at me, I wouldn't give them the order form. I'd have them write it on a wish list, and then I'd have them come in, and so that they could sign the order form and all that and do that stuff. And I'd always have a basket party bag waiting to give somebody, so that if they said no, they weren't interested in joining, I could be like, you could just take this basket party here or have a party. And now we have the new situation where you could, have someone have a party and they could use their host rewards to join. I just did that with someone a week and a half ago. And so like you could do that now. You can offer people, well, if you have a party, you could, sell 500 or more. And then, you could actually just join for free, really, almost, at that time. So there's so many different ways that you can offer someone to join by just having a conversation. So I'm not going to tell you every way you can get someone to join, but like if you are having a party or you're just talking to someone, these are things that you can use to help you. If you're always walking around with like a little baggie with a sample or two and your information and a catalog or a product sheet or something, then anytime you're in line or anytime you have a great waitress or anytime you have a conversation with someone and you find out like they're looking for a job or they hate their job or whatever, you get great service at Starbucks and they look like maybe, they could do something else with their lives, you could say, I have a business and it's direct sales, so you may not be interested or not, but I think you'd be, really good at it, right? Like you could talk to someone and say something like that, but it's pretty forward because you don't even know if they like candles, right? So it's a little weird to do that. Instead, you could give them a sample and a drawing slip and say, hey, I have a candle business and, I need to give out free samples so that I can get people to, respond and let me know what they think of it and blah, blah, blah. And could I give you a free sample? And all you have to do is fill out this drawing slip because I give things away every month and I do drawings and, would you be willing to do that? And if I can just message you and just see how you like the scent? Most people will say yes to that. You just get a drawing slip, get your sample, put them in a little bead baggie you can get at Michael's, and you pass those out and take those drawing slips and rip them off and take them. And all you got to do is get an email address or a phone number, either one. Most people give you email address because they don't like talking. And then you just follow up with them in a week and you say, hey, you won the drawing. Everyone wins the drawing. It's a scent circle. Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I always have done. It's a scent circle. Everyone wins a scent circle. And that doesn't mean that everyone's going to respond back to you, but the ones who do, not all of them tried the scent. Some of them did, and some of them didn't. And some of them are going to respond. Some of them are not. And you're just going to want to get their address and their information, and you're going to send them a scent circle. So now you have them in your contact list. So now anytime you have a join special, or you can add them to your mailer. And if you do your own mailer, you can do that. You can add them to the Scentsy mailer that goes out once a month. Whatever you want to do, you could put them on a text list, ask them, you know, say, hey, I have a text list. I don't know if you like the scent. You like candles. Did you like it? And they say, yeah, no, I haven't tried it yet, whatever. And say, you know, if you like them and you like their energy, you could offer to lend them, you know, a warmer for like a week and be like, hey, what's your favorite kind of scent? Okay. I'll give you 1 or 2 cubes. And if you want to borrow the warmer and see if you like it, if you like warmer, or if you like candles so much and you like warmers, you know, would you want to try it? These are all ways to get a customer, but they're also ways to get recruits. Everyone is a potential connection to your business. And if you only think about recruiting, you're missing, or you're only on selling, you're missing the bigger picture. Everyone's a potential customer. Everyone's a potential referral of somebody else. Everyone's a potential recruit. And if you think like that, you're just trying to attract people to respond to you in some way, you know, and not everyone's going to say yes. Not everyone's going to get, you know, fill out that drawing slip. Not everyone's going to, you know, want to be part of a direct sales business. And that's totally cool. There's jobs for a reason, guys. You know, not everybody should be in direct sales. Some people should just stay customers and never join, you know. I used to be very particular after a while about who I personally sponsored. I wanted to sponsor people who like wouldn't be annoying because I was personally training them. And if you talk to, like, sometimes Sean will talk to someone and he's like, oh no, we do not want this. This is not, He can tell they're a little different kind of crazy. Not that you want to prejudge everybody, but not everybody, I'd say 95% of the time, everyone is a potential, you know, but 5% of the time you do want to be like, I'm not going to talk about the join opportunity with this person, not because they might not join, but because they might join. You know, they could be great. They may not be great, but you are a business owner and you would be responsible for training people. And that may not always be the popular opinion, but I've seen some people like that end up actually amazing. And I kicked myself for judging them and thinking they were going to be cray-cray. And they ended up joining someone else. And and it's a true story, I met this one person that I thought was going to be a nightmare. And she might be a nightmare. But she's somebody else's nightmare. And she showed up to convention. I mean, she went to things, like she sold, she earned trips. I saw her badges and I was like, mud on my face for that one. But I also know myself and I know who I am and I know my capabilities. And I know that maybe they joined under a better person, if that makes sense. And so, yeah, they might have done really well, but they joined under someone else. But it's also my bad. I could have ended up with a really awesome person. So every time you judge someone, that's the potential, you know, rub of that, them not joining and joining under somebody else. So you can prejudge or not. It's up to you. I don't prejudge as much anymore because of that situation. I was kind of judgy for about 1.5 years. And then I ran into that situation and Sean and I were like, we're being stupid. We need to stop prejudging. Okay. So I'm looking at my list here of things that I was going to talk about. And I was thinking about sponsoring through parties I already talked about, but like making a contact list. You know, Scentsy has, when you join, you know, the list of 100 in the back of the book and everything. And I personally don't like that. I like a list of 10 to start off with, because it's like losing weight. Like if you have to lose 100 pounds, like I might as well just eat a box of cookies now. You know what I mean? But if it's 10 pounds, like 10 pounds, like I could focus on 10 pounds, right? Like 10 pounds is just, I don't have to eat cookies for a couple of weeks, but then in a month I can eat a cookie again, maybe if I work really hard. But 100 pounds is like, how long is it going to be before I can eat a box of cookies? You know? So a list of 10 is like your go-to list. And you want to get a list of 10 people that are your contacts. And again, to me, recruiting is not just about making a list of people you want to recruit and join. It's about people you want to bring into your business in one way or another. Again, I've had people who've never joined and have never bought anything, but they refer people to us because they know that we're serious about our business. They know we're good consultants. So we pull them in that way. So if you think about it, everyone is a potential part of your business. You just have to ask them to be a part of your business. And so make a list of 10 and just get through that list. And you talk to, so whether your list is to talk to them about joining or having a party for you or whatever, like if they turn you down, you say, totally understand, like maybe right now is not the right time, but like if you ever run across anybody, you know, who does want to make a little extra money, you know, I'm here. I'd be happy to help them. So, you know, if you want to refer someone to me, you know, I mean, you trust me, right? Look at this face. You know, you want to be your personality. You don't want to say the shit I say, because if you do, that might be weird to other people to swear and stuff like I do and act like I do. But you have to figure out by talking to enough people how you talk, what works for you, what's successful for you. And if you don't work at your craft, then you're not building your muscle like the exercises. And when you go to Disney, you're going to be sore. You know, so you've got to work those muscles. You've just got to talk to people. Like if you, now, I know it's weird now because everyone has a freaking mask on and it's weird and everything's muffled and shit. And no one, if you try to hand out a sample to someone, they're like, oh, COVID. So you got to be a little bit more thoughtful now about how you do things. But like, you're not necessarily going to want to go after the person who sees you in the market, in the grocery store, and they're down in the Glade section looking for scents, and they see you coming and they scurry off to the side. You want the person who doesn't flinch when you get near them. You know what I mean? And then you're like, okay, maybe I can give them a sample and be like, okay, this Glade is nasty. You should try Scentsy. What's your favorite scent? Because I've got like 5 different scents here. Just try it. It's a free sample, you know, and all I just need to do is just, I'm daring myself because I have a hard time talking to people. So I dared myself to share some samples. And I saw you here looking at the nasty Glade and I don't want you putting that in your house because it's gross. So here, try this. And I've done that before and it's vomity and it feels like I'm going to die a little bit. But each time I did it, I was building the muscle and I got better and better at it. You know what I mean? So like you just have to practice just like with anything. Like you don't just start baseball and like, oh, I hit home runs. Like, no, you got to go to practice. You got to warm up. Because if you run into first base, you're going to get that, you know, you're going to get the cramp in your leg because you haven't sprinted or done anything warm-ups in practice. Like you have to think of everything as practice, 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 practice. Oh, I got someone interested in having a party, in joining, in this or that, right? So you just have to keep practicing and practicing, putting yourself out there. And like, what's the worst? Like, no doesn't kill anybody. I mean, you might think it's going to kill you, but it doesn't freaking kill you. I'm still here. I don't even know how many times I've been told no. I have no clue. I've been told more times no than I've been told yes. But I will tell you that the more no's I got, the better I got at getting yeses. I tweaked things. I figured out things. I watched videos. I went to trainings. I went to events. I talked to other people. I listened in on other people's conversations that were better than me at what they were doing, you know, and I would take that and be like, I'm not going to say it like that because I can't say it like that or use those words. Like my one friend, Kelly Tenney, she would say things like, and she's a superstar director, and she would say things like, shut the front door. And like, if I were to say stuff like that, it would be like, Wendy, quit making fun. Right? Like that's not how you talk. But when she says it, it's so cute, but I can't say things like she does. And she can't say things like I do. So we all have our own shtick and you have to find your shtick and then you have to practice it and tweak it and tweak it. And then you have to change it for like when COVID and shit like this happens and be willing to, you know, maneuver through everything because it is a roller coaster. It's not just a one and done. Like, oh, I got one and now I know how to do it. That's not how this works at all. Every person's going to be different. Their situation's going to be different. Like you're going to talk to somebody and you're going to talk to a hostess and you're going to be like, you know, You should join. You had a great party. Your friends booked more parties. You know, like you should totally join and take this. And they'll be like, I'm shy, or I don't want to have parties. And you'll be like, okay. No, you don't do that. You don't say, okay. No. Instead, you say, well, okay, well, do you mind if I talk to so-and-so who booked a party, or so-and-so? Because I heard them say that, I mean, they have like all these warmers and they can't wait to get more. Do you mind if I offer them your party? And then you just shut up, because one of two things is going to happen. They're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is my party. Like, you cannot, this is my party, right? Well, then join, you know, or they're going to say, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. And those are the two things they're going to do. It's not going to be really anything else. It's going to be, don't take it away from me. Or it's going to be, oh yeah, you should talk to them. They'd be great. And then you go talk to that person. And if that person wants to join, awesome. And if they don't want to join, you say, okay, well, do you know anybody else who'd want to join? You know, who wants to make some extra money? Do you have anyone else that you know is a Scentsy lover? Because I want to give them this party. I want someone to take this party. And the more of that you do, and the more you give away your parties, and the more you offer them to somebody who's interested in joining or wanting to join, doesn't mean all of them are going to be good. Doesn't mean all of them are going to do anything with it. But it's a better shot that they're going to be than if you don't ask anyone at all and you don't offer any business to anybody. You know what I mean? So talk to people, offer the party. And, you know, Sean and I wore, like, I just ordered the new freaking tie-dye sweatshirt. Like, I did not pick it for myself because I do not love tie-dye. But Sean insisted today that I order him the light blue tie-dye. So I ordered him his sweatshirt. And in the first 5 years, like, all the clothes we wore out, everything, our car had Scentsy on it. We wore Scentsy. I remember I went to home office for something and I was a star director at the time, and they had a red sweatshirt hoodie. It said Star Director, Scentsy Star Director on the back. And I was flying to home office actually for they wanted me to help make a video or something. And so it was me and a few other people. And I remember I was flying in and I got no comments, no nothing. But I went to I was in a taxi to Scentsy, and the taxi driver, he's like, oh, you're a Scentsy consultant? My Scentsy consultant doesn't work anymore. And I'm like, you're in freaking Meridian. Like, you don't have any, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'll take you. So I gave him our information and he placed an order. Then on the way home, the guy who sat next to me, he had just been to freaking Scentsy trying to proposition them to work with his company. So then we talked and he took our information and he later placed an order. The woman behind me, she saw me get up to go to the bathroom on the plane on the way back. And she's like, do you sell Scentsy? And I'm like, how'd you know? And I forgot I was wearing the red sweatshirt that said Scentsy on it. And she's like, I don't have a consultant anymore. I don't know what happened to her. And I'm like, well, hello. So when you wear Scentsy, like, wear it. Like, it really brand yourself and be passionate about it. Talk about it. Have stuff with you. Have magnets. Have business cards. Have product sheets. Have something. You know, when we first started, I told you, like, we were broke. Like, we'd lost everything. And we took Avery labels from my parents, and we went to Michael's and got the $2.50 box of bead bags for I think it was like 300 of them for like $2.50 or something like that. And we would stick labels, and I would use my parents' printer ink also to print up stuff. And so I called it white trash marketing because we were so broke. Like, I mean, sorry to offend anyone. If everything offends someone, I don't want to be canceled. But also, like, it was funny at the time because we were feeling very white trash. But we weren't living in a motorhome though. But again, there's nothing wrong with a motorhome. We lived in a motorhome recently, so there's that too. So just in case anyone's gonna be like, ooh, you're rude. But anyway, we did everything like super cheap. You do not have to spend a lot of money. You don't have to get catalogs. You can just get product tear sheets. You know, or you could print off something if you wanted to, but I find that the product list sheets that you can tear off, like, you get 150 of those bad boys, and it's like $9 or something for like 150 of them. Like, that's a steal. And you just fold those up, and staple that with a sample in a baggie and your drawing slip. And like, you got a business with you in your purse at all times or in your car. And I remember there'd be people be like, because we don't have a car anymore because we travel full time, but like, I remember going to get espressos and there would be people on the other side, when you get the little espresso huts and, the drive-through coffee shops, and there'd be someone on the other side and they'd be like, oh my God, do you sell Scentsy? Because they'd see me and I'd be wearing my Scentsy crap and I'd have all the Scentsy crap all over my car and everything, vomiting in Scentsy. And they'd be like, oh my God, do you have a catalog? And so the lady between us, she would have to pass stuff through to the other car to give catalogs and samples. So I don't even know how many times that stuff happened. In Starbucks, someone honked at me and I was like, bitch, please, I'm not doing it. I can't move forward. Like, why are you honking at me? And then all of a sudden they came up to my car and I was like, fuck, I'm sorry. And they were like, oh, I saw you sell Scentsy. Do you have a catalog? And I'm like, I'm calming down now because I think someone's going to road rage me. Like, what did I do to them? I'm stuck here. I can't get out of the line. Like, I can't drive off the curb because there's a car in front of me pretty close, So I was scared to death. So just be worried about that a little bit. But you want to brand your stuff, like brand yourself, brand everything, and talk about your business to everybody. But it's how you talk. Like, you just don't want to like vomit all over people. Watch the video that I told you about. Watch it. And it's so much easier than you think just to be like normal. Like, I don't ever have like weird conversations with people like, hi, my name is Wendy and I sell Scentsy. And you look like you like candles. Would you like candles? Here's a candle sample. Like, that's weird, right? Like, you don't want to, you want to talk to people like they're like a person, So if you watch the video, it'll show you how to do that. It'll show you how to talk about your business in a natural way. And again, with COVID times, if you're approaching people, look for body language. Like, body language is like super important, isn't it? Like, you don't want to approach someone who's leaning away from you and doing this because they don't want to talk to you. And same thing, if you're having a conversation with someone and they're looking at their watch, they're looking at their phone, they don't want to talk to you anymore. They're done. Or if they're leaning in and they're asking you questions, they're intrigued. Keep the conversation banter going. So anyway, I hope that helps. I mean, I could go on and on, but like I've been running my mouth for 50 minutes already. And so maybe you guys have some questions or something to ask. And if you have any questions or want to tell me about a situation that you want to discuss to see what you could have done different, or maybe role play to see maybe if you could hear what you did or didn't do, I'm good with that. The floor is open.
Everyone's usually pretty quiet about questions at the end of it, but if they think of anything else, I always post the recordings so they can certainly ask comments there. Does anybody have anything for her while she's here, though? It's so much easier to get the back and forth. And if you don't feel comfortable talking, you can type your question out.
And you guys could also ask a question in the group page too, and tag me and I'll be just like, if you tag me in there, I'll answer your question too directly. I'll even make a video too. Like, sometimes someone will ask a question and I'll be like, it's just easier to make a training video because there's too many people who have the same question. I'll just make a video and tag you back in it. So I'll do that too. But there was just a recruiting challenge that just happened. Rihanna and Franco, she's a superstar director. She allowed some superstar directors to invite people onto a training. And so I invited 12 team members of mine, and there's only 4 left who originally joined, who have done something every day in this challenge. And it was like something that could take like 2 minutes to maybe 10 minutes a day to do. And that shows me that those 4 people, I want to keep working with them because they're showing an interest, and they haven't all recruited. One of them's recruited 2 and one's recruited 1, and 2 of them haven't gotten anything from it. But I mean, that's huge that they did something every day, whereas before, some of them have been around a long time and they never were doing anything a day. So again, consistency, guys, like be consistent. And just talk to people and be like, if you're a little nauseous, then that's a good thing. Like, if you feel totally comfortable, talking to people, then you should be having no problem recruiting. right? And if you are, you're probably saying things wrong, or you're probably not saying the right things, or you're probably talking too much and not listening. You know, like if you have someone and they're like, oh, I'm shy. Okay, well, then you don't tell them, hey, just have a home party. Yeah, because the idea of standing up in front of anybody sounds mortifying to someone who's shy. You know what I mean? You're like, no, you know what? You can do like, you know, basket parties where you just mail stuff to people. You don't even have to talk to people. You can email. Like, oh, really? Like the more you know about the business and what their opportunities there are and things that you can offer, like, I mean, that's how you can. I mean, I used to be called bulletproof because anyone could talk to me and I'd be like, I can tell them why they're wrong. You know, like not wrong, but like, well, yes, wrong, not like what there is to join, like, or why they can sell, or why they can have a party. Like, I'd be like, every excuse they gave me, I was like, Wonder Woman, pew, pew, pew. And it would be like, oh, you're too shy. Guess what? We have basket parties. Oh, you don't know anybody? Guess what? You can actually meet people in your community. Oh, you're new to an area? Guess what? If you go door to door, I can teach you how to do it and get business that way. Oh, you live in an apartment building and, you know, your apartment's too small. Guess what? There's a clubhouse. Like I can tell you every freaking thing that, you know, that I can bust your excuses with, because I talked to so many different people, because I knew so much about the business. And I'm going to tell you guys, most of you guys don't know as much about the business. And that is where your sponsor and your director come in. You are not alone in training your people. That is what we're here to help you. Like when you get your first couple of recruits, like you're going to be like, I don't want to recruit because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to teach them. I'm new myself. Like, I don't know what to do, or I don't know what, you know, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes you get an accidental recruit and you're like, I don't know what to do. That's where you contact your sponsor. That's where you contact your director and go, Molly, I got a person and they say they want to join and I don't know what to do with them. And then, you know, Molly will walk you through, okay, this is what you could do, you know, or we could have a 3-way. Like I would always teach my frontline, like, okay, well, this is what you can say. Like, what do you feel comfortable with? It's like choose your own adventure. That's how I parent. Choose your own adventure. Like, okay, you could say this, or you could say this. What did they like? You know, usually it's someone you know, and that's why it's not good for me to train that person. It's good for me to train you because I know you. I don't know who you know. You know them. So it's better if you train them, but I'm going to teach you like what you can say. And then you just keep messaging me or calling me and I'm going to say, okay, now do this. And you're teaching them how to teach instead of you stepping over them, teaching their person. You know, so don't ever feel like you're too stupid or you don't know enough or you're not a leader. None of us, well, maybe I was because I ran a business before, but so I was a leader, but not everybody was. Most people have never run a business. Most people have never, you know, been the boss of people, and you're not a boss of anyone now, but that's how some people look at it. But you've never done this. So how could you think that you should be expected to know? That's what your upline's for. That's why we have you plug into the workstation. That's why we have you plug into these team pages. That's why you're on these calls, so that you can learn tidbits and you can see like, oh, you know, like I like how, you know, Brandy talks to people. I want to ask her, I'm more like her personality, right, Brandy? I'm more like her personality and I like her vibe. So I think she might be someone. I'm going to message her and be like, hey, can I, you know, I have this idea, can, you know, and she's not your director, but she's probably willing to help because she's on these calls, right? Anyone who's willing to help in the team pages and be on these calls that you listen to, chances are if you were to message them and be like, hey, so-and-so is my director, but I really like your, and I feel like we're a little bit like, you don't badmouth your director because that's rude, but you just say, you know, like your personality just meshes, you know, like I feel like, and would you be willing to like, is there any videos that you've done on this topic? Like, don't expect them to be like, now they're your mentor. That's not cool. But say like, hey, do you have any videos or any other trainings that you've done, you know, or anything else that you've done that you could refer me to, or any tips that you can send me to so that I can, you know, get some ideas. Like, that's totally cool. Just be proactive for yourself, guys. I mean, this is your business. You're a business owner. And even if you're a business owner and have a team of one yourself, that's how we all started. Sean didn't know what the hell he was doing. For 10 months, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He knew the names of a couple people in his team. He had 56 people when he asked me to take over the business. 56 people, and he knew like 5 of them. He didn't know who anyone was. He had no systems. And if that dumbass, who I love, could do that, right? Like, I mean, y'all can do better than that. He also would put shit in a bag. He would take a Scentsy order that would come in, and he'd take the clear plastic bags, and he'd toss all the stuff in an order, like literally toss it in the bag, and then he'd throw the order form in it, and then he'd knot the bag. Shit you not. That is how he wanted to deliver orders. Like dumbass, right? Like, I'm not a crafty crafterson, and I'm not like, cute with that stuff. But even I was like disgusted. Like, you cannot give people this stuff. Like, you could have to at least set it in there nicely. And like, I went and got Christmas ribbon from our Christmas box, and I was like, let's just tie one of these around it at least. But you cannot knot this. Like, you give that to someone and bring it to them at work, and everyone's like, what is that crap in a bag? Instead, you want to present it like it's a gift, right? So if that moron could get so far as to becoming a director on his own and have 56 people and not know what the hell he was doing by fumbling his way through, y'all can do way better. You know what I mean? Like, you could all do way better than him, and now has an amazing life, and gets to travel the world with me, which is super fun, and, has 6,500 people in her downline, so we had one, just us. And I already told you who my first recruit was, and she's still with us. She's quit she's dropped off a couple times, though, so she's reinstated a couple times, but she's here now currently. But anyway, it is now an hour, and you guys have lives to live. I have a 4-year-old who's waiting for a dance party because he's being good for his big sister right now. And while I do this call, so I now have to go do the hokey pokey and dance and shit, and entertain him. So
Wendy, you are fabulous. I just love when you come on and you just fill up my cup and get my sails on my boat rolling again. You always have such good analogies to be able to put into a personal perspective for people rather than, it being very narrative. It's real life. And, that song started from the bottom. Now you hear, that's Wendy. Like, it's awesome to be able to see how your life has been changed by this fancy opportunity. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you. And it has totally changed. We were a really sad country song. Lost our truck, which we did. It was repoed. And, well, we didn't lose a dog, or anything like that. But like, it was a bad country song. And then we got everything back. And then some. So thank you. And I feel like if I at least made someone smile or giggle, then that's at least worth being on here, even if the content isn't something that you connect with. You know what I mean?
I think you're fabulous. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I think you.
Thank you. Thank you for gifting us your time tonight and all your awesome knowledge.
Always. I won't send anyone presents, but I will always give you my time.
Yeah. I would rather open up, well, not literally open up your brain and pick in there, but I would rather have all your knowledge than all the gifts in the world, because knowledge is power. So.
Oh, and that's one other thing for anyone still on and listening. Like, you don't have to send people stuff. You don't have, we've sent people laptops and prizes. Like, we have done it all. We've done daily things. Like, I mean, like we've sent out the monthly cards, like the top whatevers. It's so not in my nature to write. I write like a serial killer in my hand cramps, and going to the post office is like the worst freaking thing that you could ask me to do. We hate it. And so I will always give my time. So if you're going to recruit or sponsor someone, do what works for you, do what you can be consistent with. And mine is always time. I am available 24/7 to my frontline, my team, and my directors, period. And they all know it. And if anyone wants to reach out, I answer every single time. Except earlier today, I didn't answer Mandy's call because I was yelling at a 4-year-old. But you know what I mean? So there's that. So do you, and do it how works for you, and don't compare yourself to other people, because it's not going to work. All right, I'm done now. I got to go and dance.
Woohoo. Absolutely. All right. Have a great night, everybody. And I'll post the recording soon. So if you have questions you want to put there, go ahead and put them. All right. Thanks, guys.